Okay. Can we start? Some timing, right? Okay.
Okay, good afternoon to lecturers and also my seniors. So basically, we are the group of lesbians, and our topic of our poster is colonization and succession. So this is our cover page, and these elements are actually a certain content inside our poster, so that people will kind of expect what will happen inside there. And this second board is about the process, because colonization and succession is actually a process. So we want to put it like, this is also like some definition to let people to understand what we're talking about first before we go into detail. So this is like a brief understanding. Then after that we'll move on to the plan view. This is a plan view of our site. And we actually color code it. This is the mud, this is the muddy soil, and this is soil. We actually realized that there's 3 different kinds of soil there. So we categorize 3 different colors. Then after that we go into colonization. We actually use the story, kind of like telling a story. We use a comic form to show how the process of colonization. And then we like to focus on 4 main characteristics of the muddy area, which is the exposure, oxygen level, of and salinity, which we will use all these main characteristics to bring it to all other points later on. So we're kind of like comparing the salinity. It's kind of like a 1 tablespoon of weight. The 250 ml, we are like comparing the content of it, like it's equivalent to something. This is like the examples of it. Then we'll move on to the adaptation. Basically, all these adaptations, we are trying to tell you like how the plants or the animals, how they actually adapt, how they have this adaptation to adapt during colonization and succession. So let's say the mudskipper, they colonize this place. They are the pioneer community. So what certain adaptation they need to have in order to colonize this place. So as you can see, if we realize that we actually have this current condition, we're actually trying to show that this condition now is trying to adapt. There's oxygen level is low, and then there's high exposure to sunlight, and also higher content. And then we actually bring this concept to every single board. The second the following board is actually the same thing, but we actually increase the oxygen level. We go by each board. Like the current condition, we just state it through this logo. And then this board is about succession. We use the same thing as the colonization. We show how the succession occurs. And also down here is because the succession of after mudskipper is actually the fiddle crab. So we talk about how fiddle crab adapt when they want to colonize this place to become a new community. Then after that, moving on, we move on to the climax community. Climax community is like the last stage of the whole process, which everything is stable, and we actually do a cycle to show the whole overall flow. And this is the ant colony, which is the successor of the whole thing. So we show how they build the colony, and also it's the same thing. We use back the 4 main points, 4 main conditions, how they adapt to these conditions. And then the last one, we actually compare to colonization and also succession. What are the differences? What are the different elements inside that? So in terms of design concept, we actually we use a lot of logo. We want to represent, we have our each logo in black and white. So we want to kind of standardize everything. So we use black and white, and we design our own logo. Yeah, basically that's it. And then we add some color. Our color is poster color and one color.
All right. Okay, Shazan, because you want to go, right? Because I think you chose in a way, for your level, it's quite a bombastic word. Bombastic in such a way. When you want to explain it, you were saying it so briefly that I don't know whether you understand what is it about or what is it you're trying to tell actually from this colonization and adaptation. It's a too big word to me. So what's the outcome of it? What is it you want to say actually?
Okay. Basically, colonization is where these new species, they go into this new area which there's completely no life existed there. So how they colonize the place, how they adapt, how they actually end up they are able to live in this environment, this totally no life existing environment. So we will try. This one is actually the river. We actually write out all the process, the silt and the exposure towards slow tide and air, and also the silt and clay deposited, and then it becomes mud. And then after that, this pioneer species, which is the first to colonize it, and there are some adaptations when they colonize it. We release it out, and then we will actually like kind of say like how they play the whole thing, and then we move on to how they further develop the environment. Let's say the roots, they actually trap the sediments, organic matter, so that the soil will actually become nutritious, like more rich in nutrients, and end up the pioneer species grow and it develops, so it becomes a big tree.
So when you explain the colonization, how it all started is on the trees, not on so much on the animals. Like you know, when you talk about colonization, you think about ants, for example, or anana or things like that. But you were explaining about the plant, how it colonized. Okay, because that's not because you were just explaining. Okay, but you didn't explain it in detail. So I was a bit confused. Like, where are you going with this topic? Because it's broad, Yeah. So you are telling this story through this process. Okay, once they start colonizing, they adapt to this environment. So what are the things that they do? And then suddenly you have the mudskipper part.
Mudskipper, that's why actually this more is actually different, two different parts. Out there is actually the plants, and down there is actually the animals. The colonization and succession of the animals. So how they colonize the place. The mudskipper is the pioneer group. They first go into, they're exposed to the mud, and then there are certain adaptation they need to have in order to adapt to the environment. Then after that, slowly it will change to the fiddle crab. The fiddle crab will become the successor, and it will be replaced by the fiddle crab, and then moving on to the end. This is also because of all these conditions, current conditions, the condition changes. The muddy soil it becomes less water content. It has less water content. That's why the crab is more favorable for the crabs to come in. It's a more favorable environment for the crabs.
But when you say current condition, it's good. Your diagram is the same diagram. It's not showing a different characteristic of that. You were saying
it's actually small differences. Like this one, tree means it's a high exposure sunlight. Then this one is
I don't really see it. To me, the three things are the same. So okay, now I get it. Okay, you were saying how they settled it in a different environment. It is a tree, but you keep on saying it's current condition. But it's the same thing. To me, from afar, it looks the same thing. Yeah. So you should have used a different symbol or something like that. From here, it looks the same.
I think the information that you have given from the start to the end, so for me, it's very good. I like that given the composition and colors and all that, somehow it's quite consistent. That actually is easy for me to understand, very informative. But when Trent has highlighted the different, the sun and the conditions, then I start realizing, oh, they're not the same. So maybe, because I think the current condition, you have it tied, maybe you can spin it around and then you say, okay, this is a different level, or instead you have different levels written on top of the logos. Easier way. I like how everything is all square, so it's in that way. The rest,
I think you are the only one who did it in a very, the whole board is synchronized with the background things, and it is a good thing even further to degree. And I like the way that you actually study it in a very scientific way in terms of artistic way, but then you transform it into artistic way. Okay, which is not easy because you need to understand and you need to then. But one thing is you can actually play with the symbols with more simplified. For example, the sun, right? We can't really understand that. Oh, what is the difference between the sun? But why not you make it like 1 sun, 2 sun, 3 sun, 4 sun? Get it? Like the water drop, right? Yeah. One drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, 4 drop, which is very direct and very easy to understand. Simple way to do it.
Probably one of the first ones that I think it works. Like your sports kind of work.
You have an attempt to use the icon,
Right?
okay. I mean, you do make mistakes, it's fine, but you have that attempt to use it, right?
Oh, yeah, and also you should make the, because this is a title icon, this is not, right? Yeah, this should be bigger than that one. Okay, this is interesting.
That's called
but then
hierarchy
you
of
should,
visual.
yeah, you should make it big.
Okay? So I overall, I think that what I want to highlight is what Ms. Sufina was saying, is how you explain. During tutorial as well, I told you that you didn't understand, right? Okay. So I think that part, I think you kind of illustrated it properly. I understand. But maybe the starting point, you did not start well with the starting point of explaining. And then that part where the colonization definition, that part could have actually be in a diagrammatic manner a little bit. Okay, this is the part where I think you could have made it easier for Ms. Sufina to understand. Okay, then you have this part where up on the top part is actually about plants, and the bottom part is actually about animals. Maybe there's some kind of a different, not to say arrangement, color maybe. You have this black frame, maybe at the bottom maybe a white frame, I don't know, yeah. Just to
So it's not, on top of your just here, you draw a ground line like with a yellow color or something so different so you have the separation.
yeah, a little bit of separation.
Yeah.
At the moment it's a bit confusing. Okay? Alright?
Oh, good job.
Okay, thank you. Next, this one here, because I don't want to move. Alright?